Sup, everybody, and welcome back to the Timesink Anime Podcast. We're going to be talking about Week 1 of Fall 2018 this week. As usual, I'm JT, and this is Rex.
As usual.
So, what have you been watching this week? Outside of weekly stuff, of course.
Nothing. Really, there's been too much stuff to watch.
Yeah, there has been quite a bit of stuff to watch. I spent a bit of time last week, A, watching the new stuff, and then B, catching up on stuff for our review, like our season review of summer 2018.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's right. I did catch up on some of that stuff.
Yeah, which we talked about quite a bit in our 2018 wrap-up, so our summer 2018 wrap-up. So if you want to figure out what the stuff we've been watching before, just go check that video out. It'll be coming up pretty soon, too. Anyway, so I guess with that out of the way, let's just get right into it. So
yeah, for anybody who hasn't watched our season reviews so far, we're going to start off this season, and we are picking out 16 shows to start out with, and then after the 3-episode mark, we're going into 12 shows, and then we're just going to be talking about 12 different shows every week. Not necessarily the best shows, but the shows that are most interesting to us.
Yeah, exactly. We've actually gotten a recommendation. We've actually gotten a recommendation for one show that was actually supposed to be for our fall 2018 preview. Somebody wanted us to watch the sumo show. What was the title of that one again?
Hinamura Zumo?
Something like that. Yeah. Which, it looked good and all, but at the same time just didn't really seem like it really was.
I'll probably give it a shot. Like, I'll watch it on the side, probably.
Yeah, if nothing else, we'll talk about it here, like in the stuff we've been watching outside of weekly stuff that we're not giving comprehensive reviews of.
Yeah, so to jump into the first show, A Certain Magical Index, as a lot of people probably know, it's not licensed in the United States, I guess?
Yeah, it's facing some weird licensing issues.
Like, it's available on Crunchyroll in Europe, I think it is.
Yeah, somewhere in Europe, but it's not available anywhere, strangely, in most places in Asia.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know either. It's really weird, but it's a shame because I was really looking forward to Index.
Yeah, so hopefully in the next few weeks or so, that'll get sussed out.
Yeah, I hope it gets sorted out sooner rather than later because a friend of ours had just we had just talked with a friend of ours about Funimation getting the rights to Index Season 1 and 2, but then taking a while to actually fix the licensing problem, so it took a year or two before they actually were able to put it out there for everybody. So that must be annoying. I hope that gets resolved sooner.
Yeah.
But I guess since we can't really talk about Index this week...
we have Attack on Titan.
Oh,
okay. We already ended up talking about the latest episode of that in our review.
Yep.
In the summer 2018 review. So if you want to hear about that, go check out that there. So the first show that we can talk about is Banana Fish.
All right.
Episode 13.
Yes, Banana Fish episode 13. We are officially in I want to say we're in the second cour now, officially.
Yeah, I mean, technically, yeah. Episode 13.
Yep.
But finally got to see the knife fight that we were
excited for.
It was in the opening. It was just like, oh yeah, it's going to happen eventually, right?
Yeah, and it finally did.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting thing, they kept the opening for this one.
Yeah, I expected them to change it. Like, if not the song, then the visuals at least, because there's so many like outdated things in the opening now.
Well, maybe that'll be a thing that changes next episode, since the events are it seems are finally concluded for the first cour, or this first part rather.
Concluding with the knife fight.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, because that was the highlight so far of especially that. But let's get right into this week's episode. So, simply put, Arthur's an asshole.
Hey, just sucks. He's a little baby cheater, whiny boy.
So, that's putting it mildly. But, so anyway, they agree to have a knife fight. They agree to have, I think the guy's name was Smokey. This gang leader from another group, who doesn't like white dudes, typically speaking. He's a big black guy. I think...
They got him as like an intermediary judge.
Yeah, exactly. So they got him, and they agreed to meet up at this abandoned train platform that the line wasn't supposed to be running through. And then Sung Yin, or whatever his name is, the new boss of the Chinese group, who's Shorter's replacement. Rest in peace, Shorter. he's just not the same.
Yeah.
I mean, he's cool in his own right, but he's just not the same.
Yeah, it's like, I had a dog before, and that dog died, and you bought a new one, but it's not the same. It's not the same. We'll never bring back Snuffers.
But, did you really have a dog named Snuffers?
No, I don't think anybody ever had a dog named Snuffers.
I probably not. But anyway, so they all showed up, and they were watching the fight, and he points out, there's a train coming. And I saw that and I was thinking, oh wait, maybe there were just trains coming through. Maybe that was supposed to add more tension to the fight. Like, maybe they were going to have to make sure they didn't get too close to the platform.
Yeah, I thought Arthur was just going to try and kick him in front of a train.
I thought that too. But then, nope, something even more asshole-ish. A bunch of dudes show up with guns and start shooting at Ash.
Yeah. And also the other gang guys, dudes, they like came down the stairs and they're just like, oh, we got to shoot him too.
And then what's even funnier about that is we actually saw some of the Chinese street kids actually like popping out of like dumpsters and shit.
Yeah,
like
because they expected it.
Yeah,
because he was like, "Well, Arthur, what are you gonna be like a little bitch about it and not let me be here?" And Arthur eventually is just like, "Fine."
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, he said, oh yeah, because he was also going to be an intermediary, and it made Arthur uncomfortable for some reason,
which might have been some kind of guilt.
Yeah, because of what happened to Shorter. Maybe.
Well, no, I mean, maybe, I'm saying it's like on Arthur's side, maybe he was thinking like, well, I don't want him to get caught up in the machine gun fire.
Yeah, but he didn't care about Smokey, so. Yeah.
Well, and then when he like pressed him about it, he was like, well whatever. I tried my best.
And so we see Ash kill a lot of people.
Oh my God.
Like,
they never showed him reloading. Like, okay, in their defense, he never fired more than 6 shots in a row when he's on the screen. Because he's using a 6-shot revolver.
Yeah. His good old Smith & Wesson.
Every time in between scenes, I guess he reloaded when they didn't show him?
I imagine so. I mean, they should have taken a point and actually shown like some of the reloading stuff because that's always cool to see like a character reload in the middle of a fight.
Yeah, like Metal Gear Solid 3?
Yeah, like Revolver Ocelot.
I love reloading in the middle of battle.
Yeah, or even like Spike when he's like just going up the stairs in the Ballad of the Fallen Angels episode. You see him like reloading his gun and stuff every once in a while. It's just there's something so cool
to the
there's
especially when you're reloading a revolver.
Yeah,
you have to take the meticulous time to put each bullet in.
Yeah, each cartridge.
It's like a speed loader, but I feel like if Ash is going out of the way to use an old-fashioned gun, he probably wouldn't do that.
Yeah, probably. But
where does he carry all the bullets?
That's a good question.
He fired like 20 shots.
I don't know, but at the same time, I don't care because
it was an awesome scene.
It was still a lot of fun to watch. And then so he kills pretty much all of Arthur's guys on the train, and then proceeds to throw him a gun and said. And then he's like, wait, are you just mocking me because you know I can't shoot?
He just threw... Did he throw him a gun?
Yeah, he threw him a gun and I think he threw him a gun, yeah. And then because Arthur made the whole thing of it's like, oh, are you mocking me because you know I can't shoot? Basically trying to I think Ash was basically just taunting him or trying to make him fight fair or something.
That's all Ash wanted was just a fight against Arthur. Like he just wanted... I think he wanted to like... just beat Arthur fair and square. Yeah. So that Arthur would have no excuse.
Yeah. And then, because it was revealed in a flashback that the reason why Arthur had his scars is because Ash had beat him in a fight before and had seized control of his territory. But then Arthur, being a little asshole about it, decided, hey, I'm going to pull a gun from a guy's back pocket, try to shoot him. Somehow miss? How did that happen again?
Ash turned around and bobbed his head out of the way at the last second.
Yeah.
And then ran up on him, did a sweet side kick.
Yeah.
A spin kick.
And then pulled his knife and then just cut him along the fingers. Yep. Which, that's why he has the scar and that's why he can't shoot a gun anymore. But then we finally see the part of the scene, in the intro where they're fighting on Coney Island, it turns out.
They stop at the station and Ash and Arthur just kind of calmly walk up to the platform, and
Arthur gives some reason. It's like, aren't you going to ask me why I hate you? Mm-hmm. And then Ash basically says, no, I'm not going to. I kind of know the reason already. And it basically boils down to, I was jealous, pretty much. Yeah,
Papa Dino chose you over me most of the time. And I feel for Arthur a little bit. He probably was raped a lot. when he was a kid.
Yeah.
There was such a shitty upbringing.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, you can only blame so much on other people.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and so then we finally, and then meanwhile, while that's going on, we see AG basically getting, saying, hey, we're taking you back to Japan to get your bags packed.
Oh, yeah, it was,
two of Ash's gangs.
Subordinates, yeah.
Yeah. And
who just look like teddy bears. They just look like the nicest people.
Yeah, like, what are you guys doing in a gang? But, but anyway, so they're getting ready to take AG to the airport. He kind of accepts it, but then they let slip that Ash is in a knife fight, pretty much, and then AG, of course, like, he actually, like, rams the two, like, he gets on the elevator, and then he, like, elbows the two of them off the elevator and then goes down quickly.
I've never seen an elevator close that fast ever in my life. Like, there's always the awkward, like, 5 seconds of, well, I guess I just have to wait until it closes. But no, it was just like, anime elevator.
And then we see, like, some pretty solid running animation of AG running down the street.
Oh, yeah.
Hoping to get there before Ash does anything drastic. But,
then AG goes there. He finds, he sees Ash and Arthur fighting, which, it's a lot of cool animation when it flashes to him. And then AG does the stupidest thing you can do when someone's fighting. It's like, Ash! And then Ash gets distracted and gets cut across the stomach.
Yep, but then Ash manages to turn it around, like, and we had no doubts. Ash was going to win this fight.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, but at the same time, he manages to turn it around and stab Arthur, I think, in the stomach, before stabbing him right in the chest, and then basically he falls backward off the subway platform.
Onto his head.
Yeah, and then everybody on the ground below who was watching the fight is just going, Ash! Ash!
Yeah, just cheering for him.
Yeah.
And then Ash just tells AG to leave. Like, I don't want you seeing me like this.
Yep.
And the cops show up.
And they're taking him away.
And that's the end of the episode.
And they say, don't try to resist. As if I could. But, yeah, this was a cool episode.
So glad to finally see that knife fight. It was so good. The animation on it was so solid.
I'm wondering what's going to happen next episode. He's probably going to go back to prison again, unless they're able to claim self-defense.
Yeah, they might have been able to, but gang violence.
But at the same time, Ash is probably going... At the same time, Ash might spend a little time in prison, but we've already seen that he can handle himself in prison.
And they have connections.
Yeah, exactly. But... who knows?
Cliffhanger.
Yep. To be continued. Ooh. So, next up after Banana Fish is... what was it again?
Goblin Slayer.
Okay.
Surprising darkest show of the season.
Alright. This is some Grimgar Fantasy and Ash shit.
Man. I like with the first scene. It was like, oh yeah, it's the girl. She's going to an adventure guild.
Actually, no. The first scene was was sort of the Higurashi shit.
That's right.
Where you see her just staring. It's just like, I just wanted to be an adventurer.
Yeah. But then it like cuts to like happy music, and then she's going to an adventurers guild, and the most disposable characters appear out of nowhere.
Yep. Just we have a swordsman, we have a monk chick, and then we have a wizard, and the main girl is a priestess. Mm-hmm. And they decide, hey, we're gonna go off and hunt some goblins. There are some missing girls that have been kidnapped. We have to go and save them. Mm-hmm. You know, about his standard fantasy affair. Oh, goblins are the dumbest monsters. They should be easy to handle. Everything that could go wrong does go wrong. And what's cool though is that after this first half made me super uncomfortable.
Oh yeah,
like. I was expecting it to be kind of dark and kind of gritty, like just from the promotional video, like just...
It was just the guy going around killing goblins, like kind of edgy.
Yeah, but at the same time, it feels a little cheap that they basically just included a rape scene in the first 12 minutes of the damn series.
It helped set the mood.
It does feel like...
Rape helped set the mood!
Oh god, that... and things you wish you could take back. Anyway, but that it was just made me super uncomfortable. I'm like, oh my god.
I think it did a good job setting up how goblins are monsters. Like a lot of times, goblins are like passed off as like goofy kind of joke enemies.
But yeah, these goblins are actually pretty damn scary.
Yeah,
like not just because they are. once Goblin Slayer actually shows, and that's actually the name he goes by the way, just Goblin Slayer, ooh, which is why we thought it was going to be a joke.
Yeah.
I even said...
It sounded kind of goofy.
I even said before we started watching the episode, I was like, I wonder if it's anything like Ninja Slayer. And then Ninja Slayer appeared right on the freaking thing. But right after he appears, the cool part was he kind of illustrates everything that they did, that this group of adventurers did wrong. Like the swordsman had decided to carry a sword that was too long for a freaking cave.
Yeah, I was actually really impressed by that.
Yeah.
How they make it a point in the beginning where they're all joking around, he just smacks his sword against the ceiling, and then later on in the fight, he does it again.
And then that actually cost him his life.
Yeah, I just thought that was...
Yeah, that was really cool.
That's really cool writing.
And then what was also really cool in that same vein is when... it's like, if you have a torch with you, you're not going to notice the shadows on the wall. You're just going to pay attention to what draws your attention, which in this case was the goblin religious artifact or totem thing.
Yeah, they made a point that everyone stopped, looked at it, and then kept going.
And then they got ambushed from the back.
Yeah, because they didn't show the little side path.
Yeah, exactly.
Which, it's just good writing.
This was good writing. I guess I should have expected something kind of dark like this from Studio White Fox.
Yeah.
I mean, because, the same people that made Steins Gate and Steins Gate Zero and freaking ReZero.
Yeah.
So
it was
a lot of dark shit.
Although I love how when Goblin Slayer showed up, it was like, dun-dun-dun-dun.
Yeah.
Dun-dun-dun-dun.
It's just some badass guitar. And then when he actually goes around killing a bunch of the goblins and just how much he knows about them, and it's just clear. It's like, this guy has done almost nothing but kill goblins. Yeah. He knows almost exactly how they operate. It's just so cool.
One of my favorite things about just how he fought them was it wasn't like a generic shonen hero just slicing through them like butter.
Mm-hmm.
No, he killed them all in a methodical way.
Yeah.
When the goblin came at him from behind and tried to stab him in the neck, he's like, well, I have armor there. I know goblins go for the neck, so I'm not even going to bother defending myself. And he just pushes against the wall, pushes the torch into his head, not expending a lot of strength. Just enough to kill it.
Yeah, and then later we see him. I'm trying to think of what was another really cool bit when he killed some goblins.
So what he did when he found the shaman?
Oh yeah,
he just went in there. He used your holy light spell to make a flare. He runs in, uses his javelin, which is also really cool animation on that javelin throw.
Yeah.
Uses his javelin to take down the shaman, and then he just leaves.
Yeah, and then he asks the girl, whose name I don't think we know right now.
Yeah, priestess.
Yeah, just priestess girl. We'll probably figure out her name next episode. But, so they start running, they jump over a tripwire that he set up, and then immediately, he's like, now do it again!
Mm-hmm.
And so Flashbang manages to kill a hobgoblin, which is just a big fucker.
Yeah, and he probably knew, well, I can't fight a hobgoblin
completely head on.
So he uses strategy and tactics to kill it, which it was really cool just to watch him do his work.
Yeah, and then another goblin shows up. He just throws an axe at it with the most fuck you throw ever. Just die.
Yeah,
and then
it's just all the planning and thought that went into
and then
character.
Brutally kills 4 goblin children.
Yeah, which part of the I felt myself thinking oh, that's gross. That's so mean, but also at the same time,
he makes a decent point.
Yeah.
It's goblins multiply quick, and they hold grudges forever, and they learn from their mistakes.
Yep.
If I don't kill them, they're just going to come back even stronger.
Yep. And he does the same thing they did in the PV, where he just goes around saying that's 1. 2. That's 2. Also, I want to point out that he's so confident in himself that he counts them as dead before he kills them.
Well, I think also he was counting the other ones around, the ones that the other swordsman had killed before. He had counted the ones on the ground.
Yeah, but also he walks up to him and he'll be 5 slash. He's so just. This is such a everyday job to him.
Yeah, I'm really liking this series so far. I was expecting it to be somewhat goofy, but maybe a little bit dark, but it did not.
Yeah.
It did not hold back on some of this stuff. And at the same time, I am enjoying it. I'm looking forward to seeing more of this, more goblin slaying action. And
speculation. Mm-hmm. I think that it's probably going to be something along the lines of Goblins killed my daughter.
Probably. It's going to be so... And who knows? Maybe it might not even be that. It'd be actually interesting. It just turns out, no, he's just a fucking psychopath.
Oh, yeah, that'd be pretty cool. No heroic values whatsoever.
Yeah. But it seems like going forward, they're going, like this priestess girl, she's getting stronger too. I'm
surprised she didn't, like, psychologically break.
Yeah, no.
Like, they made it a point there. It's like, that's what normally happens.
Yeah, I mean, and she said, I can't confirm this 100%, but at all the same time, I know I want to be an adventurer still. And so she even decides, you know what? I'm going to go out adventuring with this guy to get stronger. And she even points out, it's like, I bought armor just like you asked me to. Mm-hmm. Which, again, really cool. I'm looking forward to seeing more of this shit.
Yeah, I think it's probably going to be, like, the sleeper hit of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Next up?
Next up would be Golden Kamuy 2. But is not out yet.
Golden Kamuy 2 is not out yet.
So after that would be Iroduku, The World in Colors.
Okay. PA Works did not pull out any stops of making this show look fucking gorgeous.
The episode starts off with like a spanning cityscape
and
with
fireworks
and stuff.
And the fireworks look so gorgeous. Yeah. And the main character, of course, she can't see color, so she's thinking, I can hear the fireworks, but at what point did I stop finding them so enjoyable? Mm-hmm. It was pretty much the day, I guess, when I could stop seeing colors. And so, the first episode picked up about the way you'd expect. She's got a grandma who's a mage, and decides, you know what? I have this magical item that's been capturing 60 years of lunar energy and is able to send you back in time to meet a young version of me. Mm-hmm. Now, go on and do this.
Yeah, it was basically boiled down to like, I'm sending you back in time.
Wait,
I don't want to go back in time. Okay, bye.
Wait, no. So she immediately goes back to the past and just shows up in
back to 2018.
Yeah, 2018.
The distant past.
So that's an important distinction. The show takes place 60 years in the future, so 2078. So the really cool thing is, it seems like this world, something I'm hoping for anyway, is that it is sort of like a blend of fantasy and of magic and science, and they're sort of running alongside each other. But you thought something different. Like, you think they were
well, I don't know. Maybe in the future, maybe in 2078 it's actually different, but in 2018 they have, like, the Grandma's Magic Shop, which people go there to buy quote-unquote magic. It might be real magic, but I think it might be also just, like, a Lucky Charm shop where people go there. So, like, the mages themselves know it's real magic, but other people just think it's superstitious stuff.
I'm always think it's really cool when there's like when there is like kind of the fantastical mixed with the mundane, and they try to, like, it's usually so common when it's like, regular people cannot know about our secrets and stuff like that. This must be kept secret. But it's always cool when there's actually like, normal people know about magic, and it's kind of treated like such an interesting and fascinating thing about it.
Like Little Witch Academia?
Yeah,
Like, it's not a huge crazy thing, but it's part of society still.
Yes, exactly. That's a perfect example. Like, people know that witches exist, they know that magic exists, and sometimes they're looked down on, but...
It's like, when it's so commonplace, it becomes less, like, it becomes no more interesting than, like, a fancy car.
Yeah, but it's
still,
like,
it's part of the world.
But yeah, but I find that makes it more fascinating, really. Mm-hmm. Just like seeing how society...
It makes it a lot more relatable.
Yeah, absolutely. But anyway, so getting back to The World in Colors, she wakes up in some guy's room and immediately, like, there's the whole thing, she's hiding under the bed and sees him, like, taking off his pants and stuff, and and then he leaves because he has to take a phone call, and she gets the hell out of there as soon as possible. But of course, the some members of some club, I don't remember, like the
photography.
Insert main characters of the club here.
Yeah, I think it was like photography and art or something.
Something like that. Yeah. But they notice her, like, going out of him...
climbing out of his window.
Yeah.
Aoi, I think his name is?
I believe that's his last name.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah. Because I heard Aoi, and I'm like, isn't Aoi typically as a first name, isn't it typically a woman's name?
I
I don't know, but maybe. Anywho, so they start, and they just meet her by happenstance on the street, and they just start talking with her and saying, "So, what were you doing in his bedroom?" Stuff like that. And she eventually decides, okay, I'm gonna go and try to find the house where my grandma lives.
Yeah, which one of the this group of people, I expected them to be kind of snarky and maybe a little mean, but they seem like genuinely really nice people. Because,
but they're giving her a hard time and stuff.
Yeah, teenage girls.
Yeah.
Teenage boy. They give her a hard time, but eventually one of them decides, like, yeah, I'll help you find this place that is completely out of my way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just decent human beings.
But, and so she goes there, and it's revealed that they live in the exact same house, and that they live in the future. But it's like a thriving shop. Like, so many people are just there buying stuff, like smile magic and stuff like that.
It's gorgeous, too. Like, all the different colored vials on the shelf.
Which, of course, the main character makes a point. I can't see them. It's like, yes. I think they even make it a point. It's like, hey, look at all these colors that I can't... But, like, yeah, look at all these colors that I can't see. But, so, she actually meets her great-great-grandma.
She meets her great-grandma first, and then her great-great-grandma.
Yeah, who looks exactly like her grandma in the future, which is hilarious. But she looks at this letter that her grandma in the future sent and says, it's like, oh, because of this, I know you're my family. And they just roll with it.
Yeah, because, I mean, she knows magic is real, so she was like, oh, I guess older me... Or not older me, older...
my granddaughter.
Yeah, older my granddaughter must have figured it out.
Yep.
All right.
And it's like, you can stay here. And they're super cool about it. But then the interesting part of the episode, it's just a little bit of hijinks and kind of set up for the premise mostly. But then, out of nowhere, she starts to be able to see color.
Well, it's not out of nowhere. She goes and she's going to look for her aura sight?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, aura sight.
Well, first they were like, well, you can look for it tomorrow because it's nighttime. And she goes up to her room and just, like, the atmosphere, the music, the town when she looks over, it's just, like, it's so goddamn comfy.
Yeah, it's so pretty.
Oh, man, I just, like, this show is just so chill. Anyway, then she goes...
Oh, yeah, she has, like... And she uses, like, some kind of mind's eye magic, basically, to try and find out where it is. And she
goes and finds the guy.
Yep.
The guy whose room she woke up in and left her magic earring there.
Accidentally.
And then he's, like, drawing something on his tablet, and then she sees his drawing as, like, color, and she, like you said, it looked like she was stepping into the world of his drawing.
Yeah. Stepping into the world of his drawing, and it just, like, all the color just kind of exploded. Everything looked like a storybook, and it was just really pretty. But then immediately once he becomes aware of the fact that she's looking at it or something, she kind of just snaps back to,
she's, like, spinning around, like, right in front of his face, like, the colors!
Yeah, and he's just looking, crazy lady. And he's just like, what are you doing? Yeah. So, this episode mainly felt like setup and just PA work showing off.
Yeah, flexing their muscles.
Yeah, just showing muscles. Yeah, just look how pretty the shit we make is.
Yeah. It just looks really good. It sounds really good. The plot seems really interesting.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how she interacts with her grandmother, because her grandmother was actually not present.
Yeah, she was overseas.
She was overseas in England, and they say that we don't know when she'll be back.
Yeah, so I mean, she'll probably be back before the season ends.
Yeah, but it seems like going forward, it's mainly going to be, or at least in the next couple episodes, it's mainly going to be her hanging out with her grandma's friends, or the photography club, or even getting to know Owie a little bit. So maybe there's going to be a romance subplot between the two of them.
Which I'd be fine with it.
Yeah.
It seems like it'll work. It might be a little awkward.
Yeah.
Because of the whole not from this time thing.
Yeah. You're not from this time period.
I think they said something along the lines of time magic can't be reversed.
Yeah. So
she's stuck here now?
It can't be reversed, but maybe there will be something, because she's a mage herself.
Mm-hmm.
She actually kind of curses that fact, and she thinks that that's the reason she can't see color.
Yeah, she hates magic.
Yep. So, but she is a mage herself, so maybe she'll be able to find out. Like some way to actually use the artifact that her grandma used or something and send her send her back to her proper time. Kind of like the girl who leapt through time, actually, which I know you haven't seen that, but it's a Mamoru Hosoda flick. You should watch it.
Yeah.
You guys should also watch it if you haven't. It's probably my personal favorite Hosoda flick.
Yeah, so I think this is probably going to be the prettiest show of the season.
Yep, it's PA Works. It's PA Works just doing what PA Works do.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, next up is
JoJo. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Golden Wind.
Yes, part 5 with Giorno Giovanna.
This first episode already has me hooked.
Yep.
It's JoJo, it's more of the same.
It's more JoJo. The kind of vibes I get from the new Joe, so to speak, is that he reminds me a little bit of like young Joseph, I guess, because he's sort of like a little bit of a rascal and sort of and kind of conniving and a little bit of a petty criminal, because it's actually established that Giorno is a petty crook.
Yeah, he seems like a nice. He seems. I don't know. I hesitate to call him a Robin Hood guy because I don't think. Well, yeah, he kind of is.
Yeah,
because like he stole some money from these girls.
Yeah,
he stole like a couple bucks from them, and then he went to go buy some gelato, and he saw a kid who was standing there. And then he's like, oh, I'll just buy one for the little kid.
But the thing that also is important about that, yes, he may have stolen some money from the girls, but at the same time, he prevented them from having their entire wallet stolen. Because,
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, because some other like petty crook had just stopped by and tried to snatch her wallet. But then he noticed this, grabbed the wallet. He's like, "Excuse me, ma'am, you dropped this."
Mm-hmm.
And so
it's like, I guess, like it's a tax.
Yeah, pretty much. It's actually kind of like what Robin Hood was like in the first Shrek movie. He's like, I steal from the rich, give to the needy, take a wee percentage. So, yeah, exactly. It's kind of like that. He is sort of Robin Hood-y.
Yeah. But they show his stand like immediately, which is apparently turning inanimate objects into living things, I guess.
Yeah, like he's basically just able to spring life out of stuff.
Yeah, I think he can also just do it to things that are also living, because like the part where he escapes from Koichi.
Yeah,
he like makes the tree taller.
Yeah, yeah, that was really cool. And his stand name is Golden Wind in the translation, but it's officially Golden Experience. Yeah. Which, again, if you know anything about JoJo namesakes, they're always albums or songs or artists. In this case, it's a Prince album of the same name.
The Gold Experience.
Yeah. So, I still think it's really cool, but Koichi gets sent there to find out if for sure by Jotaro, because he appears in the first episode as well, which... yeah,
it felt like a transition from the last season into this season.
Yeah, rather than just a completely unique story. Like, because... It doesn't seem like a lot of time has really passed between Goldwind and Diamond is Unbreakable, which I'm not entirely sure, because between Stardust Crusaders and Diamond is Unbreakable, there was like 10 years, so there was plenty of time. There was a lot of like empty space in between that. But here it just feels like we're jumping from one story almost immediately to the next one, which is fine, but.
So it takes place in 2001.
Okay, so roughly 3 years after Diamond is Unbreakable. But, because Diamond is Unbreakable takes place in 98. But, anyway, so we get to see Giorno doing his typical kind of street crook kind of deal. Like, basically saying, I can get you into town for much cheaper. You don't have to wait for a taxi because Koichi shows up.
Yeah. And then like he realizes Koichi wasn't a dumb foreigner.
Yeah.
So he's like, oh yeah, I'll just do it for this cheap.
Mm-hmm.
And ends up like getting Koichi to drop his bag in the car.
And he's just like, see ya.
Yeah.
And then...
Which I completely expected.
Yeah, because Giorno seems to be a little bit like Dio in some regards.
Which, he does the
useless
muda thing.
Yeah,
which
does. Yeah,
which I guess it's
a genetic deal.
Yeah, it's a genetic thing to say that.
Apparently, who would have thunk?
Yeah.
But that aside, it was actually, and then of course we get to see a little bit of a fight between Echo's echoes Act 3, which was him weighing down the car.
Mm-hmm.
But then Giorno summoning a frog. And then the frog hopping away and going down a sewer grate. And then...
Or he turned his luggage into a frog.
Yeah, he turned it into a frog egg, which quickly grew into a frog. And then it swam away. And then that's when Giorno meets up with a character named Leaky Eyed Luca.
Oh god, I hated him.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even care about his personality. It's like when somebody talks without clearing their throat. I just want to clear their throat for them.
Yeah.
Like, he's just like, I'm just like, just wipe your eye. Just wipe it away. Just fucking killing me.
They call him Leaky Eyed Luca because of a brain injury he received in a knife fight, I think. He got
stabbed in the face.
And yeah, as a result, his tear duct wouldn't stop watering. So, yep, Leaky Eyed Luca, which you don't get much more like Italian mob kind of nicknames than that. Like Jimmy Two-Face.
Yep. Jimmy Two Hands. He's got 2 hands.
But then it's shown a little bit more of what the Golden Experience is capable of doing, because Luca decides to try the smart thing of basically trying to get him to pay Giorno to pay protection fees by whacking him in the face with a shovel. Only problem is he whacks a frog. That frog causes all the damage to go back to him immediately.
Yeah.
So he gets hit in the back of the head with a shovel, pretty much.
So it's like anybody who attacks his stand, or something his stand makes, ends up getting all the damage put back on themselves.
Which is gonna be interesting to see how tricky that becomes.
Yeah, because it was really cool watching Diamond is Unbreakable, seeing Josuke figure out all the different ways to use his stand.
Yeah, like just how many creative ways can I reverse time? But yeah, and then the episode ends. Like, we see a little bit of a confrontation with Koichi and Giorno again, after confirming that, yes, this guy is Dio's son. Like, this is the guy we're looking for.
Stand users attract stand users.
Yep, as the show has repeatedly told you. Yep. But Giorno manages to get away, but then meets up with another stand user on a train who's asking him about Leaky Eyed Luca, if he knew anything about it. It's like, it's like, if you want to know, I can taste your sweats.
Yeah.
This guy was creepy. I'm just going to throw that out there. This guy was super creepy.
I think the tasting your sweat thing isn't even part of his stand. I think that's just one of his character quirks, probably.
He's giving me some Kakyoin vibes from that episode of Stardust Crusaders. Yeah, the creepiest freaking episode in that season. But anyway, we get to see a little bit of a fight between the two of them, which translates to, hey, I've got stand powers too. They are super weird. I'm going to make zippers and stuff appear on your face.
Yeah. I mean, he's like, I can put anything I want in your mouth.
Which, again, nice choice of words there, dude. But anyway, like, he makes fingers appear out of his mouth, like severed fingers, which you...
Yeah, he got like the Leaky Eyed Luca's fingers or something.
Yeah, it was gross. Like, this stuff, it's like, this guy's power is disgusting. How will Giorno get out of this situation?
Is that what the episode cuts off?
Yeah, that's where he's on the train, or the lift, or gondola, whatever you want to call it.
Gondola,
yeah. But, that's where it cuts off. There's one majorly disappointing thing about this, or rather, 2. 1, we don't know what the intro is.
Yeah, right?
2, even probably more disappointing, we don't know what the ending song is.
That's what I was looking forward to most, was the opening and the ending.
Yeah, because the JoJo, like, they know at this point. The creators of the show know at this point how memey this is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because, and it all started with Roundabout.
Yep.
And they seem to have made it a point to try and get a song from roughly that time period. Like Diamond's Unbreakable's end song was I Want You by Savage Garden.
Yeah, it's they're trying to use like Western songs from that time period.
Yeah.
Like Walk Like an Egyptian.
Which was during the 80s, roughly around the time of Stardust Crusaders.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of people are wondering, oh man, if this is from like the early 2000s, what song are they going to pick? What's it going to be? And I don't know. That's probably what I'm looking forward to most. Just finding out, next episode anyway, just finding out what song is it gonna be.
And Daft Punk.
Yep, maybe. That'd be pretty cool. Alright, but that's enough JoJo's for now. So, what next?
Next up is Radiant. I think probably the most disappointing show so far, at least.
This show, yeah.
I guess not disappointing because I wasn't expecting a whole lot, but
this just felt bad.
I don't know if I'd like dip into where the word bad because like,
or I guess
bland.
Yeah. Okay, bland. Yeah, that's a fair word to describe it.
Like, because it was just generic fantasy situation.
All right, yeah.
There's a guy who wants to get powers, but he's weak and
he's young. He's in training, so he has this kind of cool, albeit kind of bitchy older master. Yeah. But
it's like a hero's journey.
It's a hero's journey that just feels like every step is just really like there's no oomph to it. Like Hero Academia, you can kind of predict where the story's going to go for the most part, but at the same time, the tropes are handled so well that you don't really notice or care. You're just kind of enjoying the journey for what it is.
Yeah, and watching this, I was able to predict like pretty much everything that was going to happen next. I was like,
yeah. The most unique thing about this series were the Caliphants, the freaking Caliphants.
And even that like kind of reminds me of like something from One Piece or something.
Yeah, but this series. You knew the series was going to be bad when during the climax of this episode, they just kept padding the scene out.
Yeah, he was like trapped under the nemesis, and he's like, I have to save them.
And he just keeps. It feels like I was watching a fucking episode of Dragon Ball Z, like because some of those. Like, maybe not quite that bad, but still pretty bad.
And he's just like, I have to save them. Oh, he pushes me to the ground. I have to save them. Save us! I have to save them!
And then Deus Ex Badass, who also happens to be a sorcerer, comes up. So, here's the basic plot of Radiant. There are monsters called Nemesis that attack humans. Some people who fight Nemesis, some people who are ever come into contact with Nemesis, they usually die. Those who don't become sorcerers. Mm-hmm. Sorcerers are the only ones capable of fighting Nemesis, which, again, how often has that plot been recycled? Let me see. Claymore, Tokyo Ghoul, Parasite. There. I just named 3 series with roughly the same exact plot. But all those were interesting.
Yeah. So he's just like, they were like, oh yeah, we're just training here because there's monsters. There's no monsters around. Oh look, there's a monster. Yeah, and they ends up having to go fight it, and then it's just boring. Boring. I love the art style. Yeah, I love the sound design. I love the soundtrack. I love the world, just like the floating islands. I love that concept.
I've always liked floating islands. Floating islands are cool, but yeah, this just felt really generic and boring, which was kind of a concern I had just reading the description. I was thinking, okay, you know what? I'll give this series some rope, but this feels like it's going to be a pretty bland, generic adventure story.
Yeah, we're going to give it until episode 3. Yeah. Because it might pick up. It really might.
But this first episode did not do it any favors. Like, none.
So, next up, Run with the Wind.
All right, this was a show that I didn't have particularly high expectations for, but I mean, I was fascinated by it, but at the same time, I didn't really have really high expectations for it, like, at all. But I liked this first episode, even if it mainly was just introducing you to the characters. It felt like a kind of basically like, here are the characters that you'll be rooting for this entire season.
It didn't do anything, like, amazing. But it just set the groundwork for such an amazing season.
Yeah, I think series. I think the series is going to be a lot of fun. So, the series begins with a chase scene. Some guy saying, "Wait, stop! Get back here!"
It was just a guy running away with a sandwich.
Yep, just running with a sandwich, and then a dude showing up behind him on a bike and saying, "Hey, do you like to run?" Which, don't you hate it when you're shoplifting and some guy shows up and asks you if you like running?
And then they end up taking him back to the dorm, and then you get introduced to the colorful cast of
misfits, so to speak.
Everyone just cramming into a small apartment.
I don't remember all their names off the top of my head, but you have a guy who's like a foreign exchange student from somewhere in Africa. You have like the eccentric artist. Everybody nicknames him Prince.
Yeah, the prince.
Yeah. He seems like kind of lazy, kind of detached, and loves his manga. Like, he's got, like, piles of manga everywhere, and it's just like, no, don't touch that. You have the two twin brothers, and you have like the
trivia guy?
Yeah, the guy who's just obsessed with trivia. The guy who likes to smoke a lot.
Like his nickname is like Nico. Like Nico Nicotine or something like that. Yeah,
something like that. Yeah. And you have, they actually kind of sold me before the characters. They sold me on the fact it's like, hey, they have a really cute dog. Their team mascot pretty much is just this adorable Shiba. Yeah, in their front. So it's like, oh, they have a dog. I'm sold. But yeah, I don't remember any of the other ones. But the main character, it turns out, is he lost all of his money to a mahjong parlor.
Yeah, he's a college student who lost his apartment deposit in a mahjong gambling game.
Yeah, which, come on, dude. Yeah, like, what are you thinking?
You're a little responsible with your money.
Yeah, and so this other guy, the guy who meets up with him on the street, decides, it's like, hey, you can live with us if you want to find somewhere to live, but first let's go apologize to the convenience store owner, and I'll take you back to the digs and let you meet everybody. Mm-hmm. So they do, and then he reveals the real reason he brought them all there and is allowing them to live there is because it's the dorm for the running club.
Yeah, it was like, the print was on the sign the whole time, but it was too dirty to even see it.
Yeah, and they even bring that up, and they were even complaining about it, which was actually a pretty funny scene. But then he points out he wants to run what is the name of that race again? I forget.
Hakino Okiden?
Something like that.
Along those lines.
A really long relay race. And
Hakone Ekiden.
Yeah, and they need 8 people specifically. And the guy had been counting down pretty much. He's like, just one more. That's all we need. Just one more.
I thought it was 10.
Or was it 8 or was it 10?
10. It's 10. Yeah.
Okay. We need just one more though. Still, and he just by happenstance happens to see this guy just running down the street.
Yep. So yeah, he just reveals at the end of the episode, like, yes, you're all going to be part of my team because when you signed the lease, you also signed the contract to join the team. So yeah, it looks like a bunch of kind of misfits joining together just to have like an emotional trip.
Yeah. Maybe we'll see like some of these characters and their issues. Like maybe we'll find out why like what exactly drove the exchange student to come to Japan. Like what is the guy who's constant chain smoking going to affect his running at all? I imagine it would. Which, by the way, just a side note about him, he finishes a cigarette in like a few puffs and immediately lights up another cigarette.
It's very unhealthy.
Yeah.
So this is Production IG.
Oh yeah, that's right, Production IG.
So quite the pedigree behind him.
Yeah, Production IG. I'm looking forward to more of this. I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be a potentially feelsy show. Like the main guy or the best friend, I guess, is like we find out at the end of the episode he had like a leg injury or something, so he can't like sprint like he used to.
Yeah, the guy who invited him to the dorm.
Yeah. So I'm just going to refer to him as the best friend. Because let's face it, that's the role he's going to end up being.
Yeah. Well, it looks like kind of like the... Yeah, he's not really a protagonist. I guess he's the secondary protagonist.
Yeah.
So that's it for Run with the Wind. Next up is SSS.Gridman.
QuadrupleS.Gridman.
Yeah.
This was another first episode that didn't do a lot of favors for me.
Yeah, I want to bring up the full name for the show is Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad Gridman. And cyber is spelled with an S, because I guess they wanted 4 S's. But yeah, disappointing first episode. I'm really upset, because Trigger, you can't do me like this. You did Darling of the Franxx, and it was amazing until the end of the show, and now they're just starting off the show with mediocre. Like, I can't handle it.
Like, I don't know. Maybe they were trying to go for something fully Cooley-esque, where it was kind of supposed to be setting up. It's like, yeah, this is kind of boring, but then immediately everything kind of picks up at like the halfway point when Haruka shows up, and then it hits the main character in the head with her bass. But I don't know. I didn't know really what to expect from this, and
I was expecting like a action-y, Super Sentai, Power Rangers-esque kind of show.
Yeah.
And, I mean, they kind of tried to do that.
But I don't know. Like, this first episode really didn't do much for it. You did point out something, though. It didn't take, like, 30 seconds, and they already had, like, the trigger sparkle on the sky.
Like, it wasn't even a minute into the show, and up in the sky, it was just like, ding, 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 ding. It's like a trigger. You just can't help yourself. You have to do the sparkle. It's like it's like
your calling card.
Like, whoever's designing the show, they're like, oh, the episode's ready to ship, and he's just like, no! More sparkles! More!
Pretty much. And that is, but yeah, there really not a whole lot happened. Here's what we figured out. Main character has amnesia. We don't know why. He is apparently able to hear the voice of this computer program named Gridman. Meets up with some girl who had never really, he just passed out in front of her place, I guess.
And she, like, knew him from school, but they never really talked, so she just brought him in.
Yeah.
Took care of him for the night, and then sent him on...
Yeah, when he's like, way. Oh, wait, I don't know where I live.
Yeah.
And... Yeah, and then he meets up with a guy who was supposedly, like, one of his best friends and stuff like that, and so... And then eventually, he's like, wait, do you see that giant monster over there? No, what are you talking about? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
and then the monster
it was just like a giant Godzilla.
Yeah.
And he's like, huh, well, I mean, that's fine.
Yeah, that's probably fine. That's probably okay. But, and then, like, halfway through the episode, we get to see, like, the monster awaken, and then he transforms into Gridman by going into, like, this old-ass computer. But,
he gets sucked into it.
Yeah, you get sucked into it, and then the other two are just like, alright, let's see if we can help him. We need to be able to figure out what's going on, and maybe we can figure out what's going on while we do it. And then they was like, oh wait, he can't hear us. I got it. Type into the
computer. The girl shows off her super hacker man typing skills, like, brrrr,
and then immediately, tells the message to the main character. He manages to beat the monster.
Go for the neck.
Yep. He manages to beat the monster. The city still looks like it's destroyed. But then it's revealed at the end of the episode it was wiped away, so it doesn't even matter.
I assumed that was what was going to happen when we were watching it. Like, I guess if it's going to be like a Super Sentai Monster of the Week kind of show, then they're not going to be able to have the city be permanently destroyed.
Yeah, which, I don't know, like, that's always such a common thing in, like, old school NECA shows where it's like, okay, clearly there's lots of people that are dead there. Nope, okay.
Yeah, we're not gonna talk about that. Like, even in, like, Western monster movies, like, you just see cars being crushed and buildings being crashed into, and at the end of the day, it's just like, yeah, we did it, we're the heroes, we saved the day, and it's like, yeah, but
there's a lot of people, there's probably a lot of people in those buildings that are fucking dead.
Yeah, we saved the day, my mom is dead, we did it!
Okay. But, yeah, this first episode didn't really do a whole lot for me. Yeah, I want it to be good because I like Trigger as a studio, and I think it'd be cool. I think it'd be kind of cool to see like an old school like a super robot show.
It was just the fighting was mediocre. The CG was passable at best.
Yeah. Some of the animation, like an animation between a conversation between the main character and the girl he was hanging out with.
In the beginning,
it felt like really choppy.
Yeah,
it felt like jumpy. Like it looked like it was jump cuts. I was thinking, is this intentional?
Yeah. So like, there's a lot of shows that do that sometimes, where they have just like the characters switch poses and stuff.
Monogatari does that constantly.
Yeah, but in this, like, it looked like they just gave someone the job to do the in-betweens, and they just rushed it and didn't care, because the like lighting tone of the shots changes every 5 seconds or every frame.
Yeah.
It like slightly shifts to the side of the screen a couple times when it like shifts back and forth, like the alignment of the shot wasn't the same.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's just awful. Also, the scene where the girl throws the ball in the class and they just sit there for like 10 seconds.
Yeah, and it just was like panning out.
Yeah.
It makes me wonder, is this almost... I'm actually curious, now that I think about it, is it supposed to be kind of like a parody of those old things? And
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I think they just didn't spend a lot of money on the first episode, or they had to rush it out. One of the two. We'll see if it's different in the second episode, because Gurren Lagann, which is not Trigger, but Hideyuki Imaishi on it, did the same thing in episode 4, I think it was.
Oh, yeah.
Where it was, like, terrible animation.
Somebody, like, the director was not on his game, and he was promptly
I think they
fired.
gave the job to someone else.
Yeah, he was.
Like that.
Yeah, he was. I'm pretty sure that director was fired.
But yeah, it ended up looking really bad. So maybe, like, the second episode will look really good.
Who knows?
I'm really hoping, because I'm Trigger.
I'm optimistic, at least. So we'll see what happens in the second episode.
I'm less optimistic after watching Darling in the Franxx.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, I hope it looks a lot better in the second episode.
All right. So next up is that time I got reincarnated as a slime.
No,
right?
next up is Sword Art.
Oh, Sword Art.
Yeah, you're just gonna try and skip over that? Like, oh, maybe if I don't say it, he'll pretend it never existed, and we can go on the entire season without watching any more Sword Art. No, not gonna happen.
No, that wasn't my intention at all. But all right. So next up is SAO Alicization. So
SAOA.
Yeah, SAOA. The first half of this episode was interesting.
Yeah, it was really intriguing. It had, like, the plot of Kirito, he's here for some reason, and also he's a little kid.
Yeah.
And him and his friend Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah, something like Yu-Gi-Oh!
And Alice, and they're just kind of hanging out. They're talking about, like, how we have to spend every day chopping this tree.
And eventually we'll cut it down, even though some people have been trying this for, like, 300 years. Although, I watched this, and I was thinking, I had just a lot of questions, like, where are we?
Yeah.
Who are these people?
I had more questions because it was Sword Art.
Yeah.
If it wasn't Sword Art, I would have just went with it.
Yeah.
I was like, why is Kirito here? What's happening? What, is this a game?
That was exactly what I was thinking.
Because they, like, bring up the stats on the tree.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, has this much HP left? I'm like, oh, yeah, okay, it must be a game.
But, okay, why is Kirito here? Who's this other kid? Do they know each other from before? What the hell's happening right now? Is Alice going to turn out to be another freaking AI character?
Yeah, so they want they have food. They're complaining about how it goes bad so fast. They're like, oh, we need ice. So they went and get the ice, or they go into a cave and they, like, find an ice in a
dragon, ice dragon,
an ice dragon, a dead ice dragon. I think it was. Yeah, skeleton.
Yep.
And then they like, oh yeah, we found it. Cool. Oh, cool dragon, bunch of treasure. We can't take it. That's grave robbing.
Yeah.
So they're like, really quick, I want to point out that Kirito actually seems like a character in this situation,
right?
Like he actually has character and a little bit of personality to him.
Yeah.
And when he's in this, like, when he's a kid mode or whatever. Yeah. He's like, surely the dragon won't mind if we take some ice. So they take some ice, put it away. Mm-hmm. Can't head back the right way because they get lost. Mm. So they enter the Forbidden Zone.
Yeah. Or kinda. Because they're standing on, like, the edge of the Forbidden Zone. They're watching this fight. And then Alice decides to trip at the worst possible time. And her fingertips get, like, cross over into the Forbidden Zone. And apparently, that's a capital offense.
Punishable by death.
Yeah. And so she gets, like, I thought it was weird when they decided, okay, she has to be carried away now. And I was thinking to myself, all right, why are you putting this little girl in a freaking leather rig? Mm-hmm. Like
it was probably a religious thing.
Yeah, I was just thinking to myself, it's like, okay, that looks really weird, mm-hmm. but whatever.
Yeah, and so they strap her up and take her away
by flying away. Once they reveal, it's like, okay, they're using it as a means for, like, the dragon to carry. It's like, all right, that's a little less weird, but okay.
Little baby Kirito tries to stop him,
and then that was the first half of the episode. The second half of the episode is a little less interesting. Starts off with something cool.
Oh yeah, the Gungale part, fucking loved it.
Yeah, were all the characters from the previous series, like Silica actually doing something useful.
Yeah, Silica just firing off a machine gun like,
yeah, that actually
Xenon again was cool.
Yeah,
in a
actually
role,
competent role
where she gets to do something.
Yeah,
I was worried like, oh, Xenon's cornered, Kirito's gonna jump out and save her.
Yeah,
but it was everybody coming out and saving her. It was just fine.
And then we get to see the husband-wife duo with laser beam swords.
Oh man, Asuna's outfit's fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. It doesn't really feel like it fits the theme of the game, though. It feels like it belongs in a fantasy game like Sword Art.
Well, yeah, that's probably because they wanted to, like, get an outfit that kind of looked like it was like her outfit in Sword Art, but cyberpunked or whatever.
Yeah, which it feels like
it probably doesn't fit in the game.
Yeah, for me it just feels like a little bit like too much of a stylistic clash. Maybe I just enjoyed SAO Alternative too much, where the characters actually had outfits that made sense.
They're all gritty and
and Len, despite it being hot desert pink or whatever, it actually looked like tactical wear that people would be wearing in a game like this. Mm-hmm. But whatever,
different people.
But not Reki Kawahara.
Yeah, so we have that cool action scene where everybody's working together to fight against the guy, and then it just moves into
a fucking 10-minute info dump. Yeah, in a fucking cafe.
10 minutes of techno babble.
Yeah, in another goddamn cafe where nothing changes. Occasionally they cut to Egil, who's washing glasses in his car. Like, that's apparently action.
I'm also here.
Yeah, I'm also doing things. I'm not relevant to the plot at all, but I'm doing things.
They probably thought, like, they didn't want to leave the camera on Kirito monologuing too long.
Yeah, I mean, but at the same time, this is actually apparently a pretty big problem for the directors of SAO, maybe just Reki Kawahara as a writer. He almost always does his info dump scenes in a goddamn cafe. Like, always. Anytime there's a big info...
before.
Yeah, anytime there's a big info dump scene, they're always in a goddamn cafe. Like, always. Like, I'm pretty sure you could go back and try and count how many times he uses it. It gets pretty unforgivable, but then we get to see I guess what's kicking off the plot for this show. Kirito gets stabbed in the chest with poison by the last member of Laughing Coffin, Johnny Black.
Yeah.
Remember when those characters had the illusion of relevance?
Yeah, they're like, oh, Laughing Coffin's gone for good. And he's like, no, I'm the real last person of Laughing Coffin.
Yeah.
And Kirito goes to fucking grab a sword on his back. Like, what are you even doing? Like, is that PTSD or something?
I mean... Not that we'd ever know, because he doesn't emote anytime. Because first half of the episode, he actually felt like a character. Second half of the episode, he went to being bland-ass, boring Kirito.
Yeah.
With occasion, and then with Asuna being waifu material again.
Yeah, like, oh, I want to go to America to study more VR stuff. Come with me. She's like, I don't have a life. Of course I'll come with you. I don't have any friends or obligations.
Or family. Like, it's like, what was the whole point of Mother's Rosario then?
Yeah.
It's like, are we just going to throw away that arc entirely?
What does Asuna even do?
What does she do? Aside from play games...
I'm rich and I play games.
Apparently. It's like, I mean, she has to go to school. We've seen her go to school.
It's such a shame, because I adored Asuna in both the original series and Mother's Rosario.
Yeah, in Mother's Rosario, she was a great character, I think. But I don't know. We'll keep watching SAO, even if it is 36 episodes. I might be getting progressively more haggard by the time.
It's definitely going to watch this because I fucking love Sword Art and the pile of garbage that it is.
All right. So,
next up is That Time I Got Reincarnated.
All right. So, we've seen like this concept how many times now? Okay, a guy dies suddenly. He gets reincarnated in a fantasy world. How many, like, we saw this how many times, like, the past 3, 4,
ever
5.
Since Sword Art came out.
Yep, ever since Sword Art. So, and we've had varying degrees of them. We've had, like, some good, like Log Horizon and Grimgar, some bad, like that like In Another World with my smartphone, or Death March to Another World.
Yeah, there's too many bad ones to talk about.
There are way too many bad ones, but this is actually one of the good ones, or at least it's setting up to be one of the good ones.
It really surprised me. I mean, I when I watched the PV, I thought it looked really interesting, and it was going to kind of be a fresh take on it, and it proved to be.
I thought it was going to be sort of like a comedic edge, maybe like Konosuba,
like a satire.
Yeah, but and it sort of is, but it's also kind of getting into that sort of like overpowered like a hero fantasy that we see, but
it's done in like an interesting way.
But in a way that feels fine and actually kind of humorous, because main guy gets stabbed after, like, he's 37, I want to say.
He's a corporate worker.
Yeah, he's happy with his life so far. He says the only regret that he has is that he's never really had a girlfriend ever. He meets,
another trope.
yeah, he meets up with a coworker, like his younger coworker, who has a celebrity girlfriend. Celebrity girlfriend is about to be attacked by a random stalker on the street. Guy runs up. The boyfriend tries to stop her from getting stabbed. Main character throws him out of the way, gets stabbed himself, and starts bleeding out on the streets. Mm-hmm. And he starts lamenting about, like, oh, I'm so cold. And then...
oh, yeah.
This was actually...
cold resistance acquired.
And then he thinks to himself, like, oh, now I feel so warm. Heat resistance acquired.
Yeah, it's... And I love his last lines were... take the hard drive out of my computer.
Yeah.
Wipe it. Make sure it's completely destroyed.
Throw it in the bathtub is actually the instructions he gives. Is throw it in the bathtub.
It's like, you got friends when they're willing to erase your hard drive
without even looking. And then he says, and whatever, it's like, and don't look at it. Yeah. And then the guy wakes up. He starts speaking in his normal voice, just, where am I? But then immediately gets his slime voice.
Yeah, it was tiny, adorable slime voice.
Yep. And most of the episode is just spent with him just doing slime things, like going around picking up...
It's him slowly accommodating to his body.
Yeah. And realizing what it is. And then he accidentally falls in water at one point, and then has to basically jettison his way across the water.
It's like, new skill acquired, water propulsion. Which I love, like, the... retro pixel RPG aesthetic they have for like the menus, like when the thing pops up in the music.
And again, I thought it was super cool. I thought it was super humorous too. Like how just how everything he was saying, like as dying words, were pretty much
translated into a power.
Yeah, like it's just
was it something along the lines of he's still a virgin?
Yeah, he's still a virgin. I was probably it's like what is?
Oh yeah,
I was probably a little bit close to being a sage, and then.
Yeah, so you got the
mage skill acquired. Sage skill acquired.
Yeah, so it's like the trope of like, don't have sex for 20 years and you become a wizard. 40 years you become a grand wizard.
Yeah, something like that.
Kind of thing. And then he's like, if I had the chance to sleep with a woman, I definitely would have jumped on her. And it's like, predator skill acquired.
And I heard that, and I'm like, oh god, that doesn't sound right. But basically what that translates to is he has the ability to gain skills of whatever he devours. Mm-hmm. Which,
like
again...
Kirby.
Yeah, he's Kirby.
Yeah.
He's basically Kirby. Which I actually thought was a lot of fun. And then he meets, quite possibly, the best character so far, Tsundere Dragon.
Yeah. He shows up and is like, oh, well, you dare... interrupt my slumber, and he's like, well, I'll just leave. He's like, no, don't leave.
It's not like I want you to be my friend or anything.
That's essentially what it boils down to what he says.
Yeah, pretty much. And then the two of them, like, shake hands, and he says, yeah, I'll be your friend. Which, I'm kind of worried, because judging from the PV, it looks like he eats that dragon.
I think he eats a different dragon.
Okay, maybe. I hope he doesn't eat this one.
The dragon, like, gives him the ability to see, too.
Yeah, magic sight.
Yeah.
He basically says, hey, focus, and just focus your energy and you'll be able to learn magic sight, which he does.
And that's like the first time he's actually able to see his body.
Yep, see his body.
Actually a slime.
He's like, yep, I'm a slime.
This looks like it's probably going to be like one of my favorite shows this season.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. And it's going to be a 2-core show, so...
Yeah. Like the opening showed like a girl...
Yeah.
Guy, girl. It was a very androgynous figure with blue hair.
Which is probably... Yeah, and then just him being able to like kind of shift between being a slime and then being this form.
Yeah, the fight scenes look like they're going to be really cool, actually, because like the fighting in the opening showed him like fighting in his uniform. He turns into a slime to dodge the attack and then turn back.
Yeah, that looks it seems like it's going to be a lot of fun, like seeing a slime character be like, what can you do with a slime?
Yeah.
What can you do with the most stereotypical weak enemies in any JRPG? Anyway, so next up, we've been waiting for it for a while, Thunderbolt Fantasy.
Yeah. Oh, I was smiling ear to ear the whole time I was watching this episode.
It's so... There's something so cheesy but so kick-ass about this series.
Yeah.
It's like watching old Godzilla flicks. They're so... Like, old Godzilla movies are so over the top and so cheesy. Effects. But it's just so much fun to watch.
Yeah. It's just... It's a marvel, really. Like, so... the story is also really good.
Yeah.
But just like the spectacle of seeing the puppets are fluid movements and they're animated so well when they're fighting, it's just like, okay, if you're making an anime and you don't animate it well, you don't have an excuse.
Yeah.
With the amount of work they put into freaking Thunderbolt Fantasy.
Yeah. Because the show is just and it's so cool to watch because, again, these puppets are just so freaking articulate and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, having fully reticulating fingers and stuff like that.
Mouths.
Yeah. It's just... The show is so much fun. I thought it was a lot of fun when it was back in the first season aired like a few years ago. And I heard the movie is also pretty good too, which is probably a prequel, which I kind of want to watch it just for the sake of seeing if any of these new characters that have been introduced are in that movie. Which we get introduced to a few new characters. Now, for the record, though, you have not finished Thunderbolt, have you?
I have not finished Thunderbolt Fantasy Season 1, but I kind of just I went through and saw the basic plot summary of the show.
All right, yeah. So you know the general premise. Like, this guy is he holds the Index of Cursed Swords, pretty much. Kind of like another show with Index in it, but 45 or 35 cursed blades, which are too dangerous to be kept around, and so he decides, you know what, I'm going to gather these and find proper ways to either use them or destroy them if I can. Which the first thing he tries to do is get rid of them. Yeah,
he's trying to give it to the Lord of a Fortress, so because he's it's a very well known high security place, so he can keep an eye on it. He has second thoughts about doing it, tries to take it back. The Lord's like, no, we can't trust common rabble.
Yeah.
Like you with such a thing that's so dangerous.
Yep. And then next, he meets up with, I guess, an old friend or somebody back...
Yeah, it seems like an old friend.
Yeah, an old friend or somebody he knew from his country.
Mm-hmm. It's somebody he used to travel with, but he just left him, I guess.
Yeah, and...
With a sweet, not guitar. I just looked up the instrument a little while ago.
Yeah. I want to say it's a sitar, but that's not right.
But yeah, it talks to him. It has a very snarky voice.
Yeah, and it's got a little demon head that occasionally will talk. And then it also is apparently electric.
It's a biwa.
Okay.
I guess. That's what it looks like. Yeah, when he struts on, it's it's which apparently hurts it.
Yeah.
He's like, no, stop! Oh God, stop!
But then later,
I love how it's a mouth too.
Yeah,
a fully articulated mouth.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some, but then he realizes, oh crap, wait, there's other people. If you're here, that must mean that other people from my home country.
Yeah, it's you were followed by this girl for the past 3 days, but you must have noticed that.
Yeah, and then he's like, oh crap. And so he goes back to the temple and then finds out that a lady that has the ability to control a shitload of highly poisonous scorpions is there, and is also somebody he knows back from his home country. But, so they get in a little fight. They're fighting on rooftops. It's all really cool. Again, it's hard to describe this show because it's just such a spectacle to watch.
It kind of makes you think of, Crouching Tiger.
Yeah.
Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. That kind of how they jump around and they fly. And
yeah.
It's very old Japanese, B-movie.
Yeah. But, and then... she manages to try and take the scroll, and tries to summon one of the swords from it, but he cuts it in half, I think, or manages to cut it in half, and she manages to escape with the remaining half of the swords, and he's just like, well, crap.
The adventure begins.
So, and then the rest of it is basically going to be probably meeting up with the other main character from the first season, the enigmatic Gale, who's, alright, it's going to be impossible to try to remember what these characters' actual names are. That was always a problem I had with the original Thunderbolt Fantasy.
Yeah, just the long Chinese names.
Yeah, their names and then the names that they say on the screen, and the names that that are actually spoken in Japanese are always different. So I usually just remember them by their titles, the main, the guy with the white hair and the pipe that is also able to turn into a sword. That's, I always remember him as the enigmatic Gale. The main character I'm going to refer to him as the Edgeless Blade, because that's the title he came up with in last season.
Which the enigmatic Gale showed up.
Yep, he did.
The episode.
this it looks like it's going to be more fun that the last season set up. Because I'm almost certain Geno Rabuchi is still working on this.
Yeah, he is. And so is Hiroyuki Sawa now.
Yep, Hiroyuki Sawa.
The music is so good.
The music is still good. The direction is good. The puppetry is amazing. Mm-hmm. And practical effects are so cool. Like, seeing, like, him stepping into a puddle, like, into a flooding puddle.
Yeah, just imagine how tiny that puddle is, but it looks like it looks not real, but it looks like it's there.
Yeah, it feels real because you're able to kind of, like, immerse yourself in all this. Mm-hmm. And it is still kind of funny, like, seeing how they talk, like, they're all like...
Oh, yeah, they're like kabuki, like, they move their arms like, whoa! Also, like, I think all the characters have, like, long sleeves.
Mm-hmm. I think they do.
To probably hide, like, some of the strings and stuff.
Probably hide the strings, probably hide their joints, maybe.
Yeah, and they all also hold their arms, like, down at their sides, and their arms kind of stick out.
Yeah.
Which, it's puppets. Like, their arms are probably out, so they have separate strings on their hands.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I would love to see this show recorded live.
Like, yeah, it would be so cool. I'm pretty sure there are behind-the-scenes bits.
Are there? Okay.
There's gotta be. Like, you don't get a spectacle like this and not show how it's done. So, it would be really cool to see. We can't really describe it justice. So, I mean, and not a lot of plot happened this episode. So, just watch it.
Yeah, as somebody who hasn't finished the first one, and I like, even without reading the plot synopsis, it's kind of like a separate story.
Yeah.
It just starts off in a different story, and you can watch it without watching the first one, even if you haven't seen it.
I would recommend watching the first season as well, just because it's a lot of fun and a really cool thing. And again, it has one of my favorite action scenes from a series that year, I think.
Oh,
you know the scene I'm talking about.
With the exploding out its explosion, ribs exploding out his back.
Yeah, it's such a good scene.
It was so cool.
Yeah. If nothing else, just for the idea that there is a puppet where ribs explode out of his fucking back.
They took the time to make that.
It's just so good. Anyway, on to the next show.
Next show would be Sudone, Kazame High School's Archery Club, the
Kyoto Animation.
The Kyoto Animation archery show.
Which is also not out right this week.
Yeah, it's coming out October 14th. I really hope that it doesn't go to Netflix, because Violet Evergarden went to Netflix. That was also a Kyoto Animation show. I
don't know if Kyoto Animation and Netflix have like a deal or something going on. I hope that's not the case, because I don't want to see another really cool show go to Netflix.
Yeah, we still haven't got to watch Sirius the Jaeger yet.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, we don't know if it's good, but it looks good.
Yeah, it's PA works.
Yeah. So, next show, it's the last show we're talking about today, Zombieland Saga. Another MAPPA show.
Holy shit.
Yeah. The start was just so good.
This show, man. This fucking show is just hilarious.
So the start of the show was typical morning, normal music. A girl is like, I'm your average high school girl. And then she like walks outside, or she like eats her breakfast, she walks outside all,
I'm off, bam!
Yeah, immediately just boom, hit by a truck, goes flying through the air, and then they play like the opening sequence.
Yeah, cute, like of her flying through the air, which they kind of drew out for a while. It kind of reminds me of that scene from Talladega Nights. I'm flying through the air. This ain't good.
It's just like,
yeah, they just have
start
Japanese
playing death metal music.
Yeah, I didn't know. I had said this while we were watching it. I didn't know they had combined the opening to Agretzko with the soundtrack from Castlevania.
Yeah. So it turns out Saga is the name of the city that they're in.
The prefecture, yes.
Yeah, and she gets hit by a bus or a truck and wakes up in a mansion somewhere. It's like, oh, there's a zombie. Oh no, she's in a zombie horror survival.
There's another zombie.
Yeah.
And a third zombie. Holy shit, what's going on? Oh my god, there's one grabbing my leg. Crap, what am I gonna do? I'll grab something that I think resembles a car antenna and just stab one in the head.
Yeah, she's fine. It doesn't matter. She's a zombie. And she like runs off, gets out.
It's like pouring down rain. Sees a cop.
Which is a point, actually.
Yeah.
Because she sees a cop and then it turns out, oh, she's a zombie too. Because, like, the guy, the head idol guy that they show later on ends up, like, apparently he put a bunch of makeup on her just to test it out, and then she ran out and all the makeup washed off. But the cop shoots her, and she, like, passes out, I guess?
Yeah. I was halfway when she like, kind of, like, looks backward by sort of, like, bending her back backwards and just looking at him. But I was expecting her to just, like, do that creepy, like, that's a common thing that you see in, like, Japanese horror and stuff like that, where they just kind of go,
yeah.
But
look out! She got shaft neck.
I was expecting her to do that, but then she just falls, and then the cop gets hit in the back of the head with a shovel, I think, or something.
And then the guy ends up, like, taking her back, probably.
Yeah.
So it's revealed that this guy wants to save the city.
He wants to save the city by...
What's wrong with the city?
It seemed, as far as I can tell, the city is like... it kind of reminds me a little bit of the plot of Sakura Quest, because like it seems like a lot of country like settlements and stuff like that have been kind of like going under, so they want, and prefectures and provinces were not really getting like people to live there and stuff like that, so he wants to get people to live there essentially, and part of it being Saga is becoming a thing of the past, and so are provincial idols. So let's kill two birds with one stone.
Yeah.
Let's kill two birds with one stone and bring back people to Saga by starting an idol group.
And he has to do it with zombies? Oh yeah, so the reason he got zombies is, I guess, because he's like, oh, I'm just gonna collect this star-studded cast of awesome old dead girls.
Yeah, like he gets like a biker gang leader.
Yeah, an old idol, a movie star,
a child actress,
what was like the
legendary courtesan.
Yeah.
And
then like there was a girl who's like the legendary
something or other,
yeah.
And she's like, wait, could you repeat that? And he does it again in the exact same way.
Yeah. He's like, what's he legendary? He's like, well, does there need to be a reason? What's so special about you? What makes you legendary? I was expecting him to throw in like a fuck you.
Pretty much. This character seems very immature, and he doesn't want to explain. Like,
I love him.
The series is so over the top. Like, so the character makes sense. Like, oh, I'm a zombie, and I'm one of the only ones that's awake, is the term he uses. Like, she's actually aware of the fact of her consciousness and isn't just a mindless zombie. Like, she's undead, but she's aware, she knows what she is. And so she's wondering, okay, so I'm a zombie, how did that happen? Haven't you ever seen a zombie movie?
Yeah, well, you're a zombie.
Yeah, and
that doesn't explain anything.
That's pretty much the explanation he gives. It's just like, does it really need to be a reason? Yeah. Just a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Stop asking so many questions, god damn it.
Another really fun little Easter egg is it's not particularly hidden. The dog's name is Romero, which is a reference to George A. Romero, who directed Night of the Living Dead, and stuff like that.
That's a good little thing.
Yeah, it's a cool little Easter egg.
So the episode moves on to he's just like, all right, you're doing an idol show. And it's like, wait, what? And he just like drives them there, brings them to like a death metal,
a death metal
venue.
Yeah,
well, everyone's like, what? Why? And he is just the best makeup artist ever.
Yeah.
Because he makes them look like they're alive again.
Yeah. Like, no problems. None whatsoever. And, like, all the girls, though, like, are clearly zombies still. Because they're just, like, shambling about. And then one girl starts gnawing on somebody. He's like, hey, don't gnaw on that. And I also want to point out, this guy seems to have an infinite supply of squid in his pocket.
Yeah, like she took all the squid out of his pocket to feed to them, and the next frame they showed his pocket, he just had more squid in his pocket.
And what's even more hilarious about that is, like, after she was, like, passing out and losing consciousness, and he's like, this guy, why does he have squid in his pocket? It's like, that's what you choose to focus on?
So they go out and, like, do the show. And they're all just walking around like,
And then one of the girls, I think her name was Tai, like the person who doesn't have anything really special about her. She just jumps into the audience.
Yeah. They're like, oh wow, mosh pit right off the bat. And she's like, starts chewing on the guy's head, which I guess, like, you don't become a zombie by...
Yeah.
I guess it's not an infection thing. I think
it doesn't seem like it.
I think he just brought him back to life.
Yeah, and then they accidentally... And then he's like, okay, music, let's go, 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 go.
Yeah, they just start playing death metal on the speakers, and all the zombies just start like headbanging, just extreme. And then the guy in the audience is like, "How can they do that? They headbang with such passion. It's almost as if their necks are broken."
Which they probably are, because they're fucking dead. And the girl, like, delivers, like, death metal screams, probably just because she's overwhelmed. Like, what's going on?
Well, she likes,
yeah.
She likes idols.
Yeah.
And, like, flashback to that, and she was like, I assume she had a moment of, like, I really want to perform. Mm-hmm. And she's just like,
But yeah, it was just her screaming, I think, just because of how overwhelmed she was by the entire situation. Just because the show had been a mess up to that point. But,
and then the crowd loves it.
Yeah, it's just headbanging and screaming. Yeah. I guess that's death metal, but... but... Anyway, and then of course the show falls apart after the zombies decide to come off the stage and start attacking the freaking people in the audience, and then
which probably made it even more cool for them.
Yeah, and then she's all like reminiscing about it. It's like, yeah, I knew it wouldn't work, but then all of a sudden, all the girls except for one awaken.
Yeah, they're all of a sudden like. Just start real. They're like, "Oh, you're a zombie. I'm afraid. Oh, I'm afraid of you. You're a zombie." And they all start freaking out, except for the one girl who attacked the person in the audience.
Yeah, because I don't think she's awake yet.
I feel like she's probably going to be like that way for a while. They're probably going to use that for comedic effect.
Yeah.
Like, all the girls are awake, and also there's a zombie.
Yeah, there's also one zombie who also doesn't have anything special about her, like the rest of these. Like, we got a legendary biker. We've got a legendary courtesan, a child actress, and then this girl.
Yeah.
Just this girl.
This show looks like a blast. Yeah. I don't even know what I watched in the first episode, and I loved it.
I was not expecting it to be an idol show.
Yeah. I was expecting a zombie horror, over-the-top kind of B-movie feel.
Yeah, but no, this is just a freaking
They
idol.
snuck it in. They snuck in the idol show this season.
Like, and, you know, I'm not even angry.
Yeah.
This looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. But, anyway, I'm pretty sure that's the last of the shows that we're going to be talking about this season.
That's it.
Hopefully in the next few weeks, some of the other shows will start trickling in, but, like, I hope Surune is actually going to be on Crunchyroll and somewhere accessible other than Netflix.
I hope we can watch Index, actually. Like, I don't even know what that's about.
Yeah.
Golden Kamuy we'll be able to talk about next week. Should be able to anyways. It's probably going to be Crunchyroll.
Yeah.
Katakuri Circus. I think that's going to be Amazon Prime. It might be Crunchyroll, though. But yeah, that's coming out on the 11th, so we'll be able to talk about that next week. And then, like, with so many good shows, there are... We're going to be cutting down to 12
here in the next couple weeks.
Yeah, after week 3. It looks like it might be hard actually this season. Like,
yeah,
we got down to 12 pretty easily last season because there was a bunch of garbage.
Yeah, there was quite a bit of garbage. Like we cut Island after an episode.
Yeah,
and Radiant might have been that show for me, but at the same time, it's like, okay, you know what? I'm willing to extend it. I'm willing to give it a little bit more room.
Yeah, it wasn't quite Island level of garbage.
Yeah, it felt generic, but Island was just bad.
Mm-hmm. So, that's going to do it for this week. If you have any shows that you think we should take a look at, go in the comment below. We'll check it out probably.
Yeah, I've heard that Bunny Girl Senpai, that's actually pretty good.
I watched the first episode of that one. It was pretty interesting.
Yeah, and I don't know, maybe I'll have to look into that myself and maybe talk about it on the show as well, like a little bit. But anyway, that's it for this week. See you guys next time.
See you next week.
Signing out.